If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be rare. It is very rare that I will make multiple videos on the same person, but today we're all in for a treat because Andrew Schulz has responded, not to me specifically, but to everyone who had a problem with the controversy that just went down, and his response is terrible, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. So for those who may not know, I just talked about Andrew Schulz like the day before yesterday. It's a video called Why Be Funny When You Can Be Racist, which very much sums up my opinions on Schulz and his comedy. But for those who haven't seen the video, no worries. Short story shorter, Andrew Schulz is a popular comedian and podcaster who made a bunch of racist jokes about black women on his podcast, and two other podcasters who were guest appearing on that episode came out and apologized for laughing along at these jokes and not pushing back. And now Andrew's reacting to their apology and saying that they should not have apologized because the people calling them out are, and I quote, jealous. So I'm quite excited to find out just how jealous I and you and anybody who may have had a problem with Andrew's comments actually were. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of electrical tape sculptures, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's video, I'm technically responding to a response from podcasters on a different podcast, which is the one I'm responding to now. I totally see how this is a bit tricky, so I'll break it all down. All right, so we've got these two podcasters, James and Fuhad, and they dropped an apology video for appearing on this guy's podcast, Andrew Schulz, and laughing along while Andrew made racist jokes about black women being violent and angry. So now this video is Andrew and his goofy co-hosts sitting around and reacting to James and Fuhad's apology. Andrew has not apologized for making these racist jokes, and if you want to make bets on whether or not he's going to, go ahead and place them now.
Any listeners here that are upset at us, we just want to let you know that you're going to stay upset.
Oh, we gonna stay upset, Andrew. Okay, all right. The funniest thing, though, is when I think about the video I made about him, I don't think I was upset at all. I think I was very unsurprised. I feel like people like this who make all these edgy jokes, aka being racist, they don't realize that oftentimes it's not nearly as upsetting as they seem to think it is. I mean, not to me. My eyes just glaze over more than anything.
What we're not going to do is sit here with our tucked between our legs apologizing on the podcast for jokes.
Man, sometimes I wish I could call anything wrong I've ever done a joke. Because no, I don't think people should have to apologize for jokes. I think people should apologize for racism, though. Hot take. And you can be racist while making a joke. So that does imply some jokes should be apologized for. But you know what? Never mind. Let's just see what he has to say.
We just wanted to address something that's happening at the minute.
Why is their audio so bad? Why is it so echoey? I apologize in advance. I don't know what kind of potato they're streaming this apology video through, but this is my apology video for having to put up with their horrible audio. Their apology video didn't sound like that when I watched it. So Andrew, you need a new podcast producer.
Andrew was making a joke, frankly, like racist joke.
Yeah.
And we were laughing at it.
Me?
And to give, first of all, before we get into like specific.
I'm loving the mock surprise, you know, just not taking any of this seriously at all. So this is a good time to review the jokes in question, just so we're all aware. James and Fuhad made a joke about men changing up their style when they start dating black women, like getting a beard, shaving their head, etc. And Andrew said they shave their hair because they start losing it, because he's so stressed to be around this black girl complaining all the time. They grow their beard because they need a cushion when they get slapped the F out of them, he said. Love how the BBC cleaned this up a little bit. I think the black girlfriend effect, it might be a protective instinct. So the joke is black women equals violent. That's it. It's the extent of the comedy we're dealing with here. Why, oh why, did anyone call this racist? I'm shocked. I'm shocked, I tell you.
Now, obviously, there's just literally no excuse.
Pause.
There is no excuse.
Agreed. Pause. There is no excuse for jokes. There is never an excuse for making jokes.
Do you see what he's doing here? Just take the thing that you did and replace it with something that no one could reasonably expect you to apologize for, and then say you're not going to apologize for that. It's like the oldest trick in the book, honestly. It just makes it sound like you lack basic comprehension skills.
I would never excuse taking two things that have nothing to do with one another and then bring them together to make your friends laugh. I would never excuse that, Mark.
What if it has a good setup and a misdirection at the end?
Now, this is interesting because Andrew has actually just attempted to explain the comedic value within his joke. You took two things that have nothing to do with each other to make people laugh. So guys who are dating black women shaving their face has nothing to do with black women being violent. You just kind of crossed those wires to get a reaction out of people. I'm not sure what kind of clever setup or misdirection this guy's on about because I didn't hear any of that. But let's get into the whole nothing to do with each other thing. This is honestly a very weaselly interpretation of one's own joke because we all know the joke wasn't these two things have nothing to do with each other. That's why we're all laughing. The joke is black women complain all the time and are violent. The racism kind of is the humor for you in that moment. But the fact that you can't even say, no, I said something racist on purpose because I thought it would make them laugh and I'm not sorry about it. And you got to spin it into some sort of explanation. I mean, if you're at the point where you have to explain your own jokes at all, that's kind of comedic failure 101. But you get where I'm going with this. You're so weaselly, you know? And that's actually disrespectful to weasels. This weasel is cute, actually. He's very cute. Andrew Schulz, on the other hand, looks like he's going to commit suicide in 1945. That was me attempting to be dark, edgy, and shocking, by the way. Notice how no marginalized groups got made fun of in the process. Very interesting.
People that look to us for support and look to us to feel protected. And protected is the main thing that I wanted to discuss.
I should have protected you.
I apologize.
Because you're not capable of protecting yourself. That's the thing. I don't think that you're capable of protecting yourself, so it's my job to protect you. I got to infantilize you, and I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, so now the talking cheese is going to preach to us. Saying protect black women is not infantilization. Fuhad and James are specifically apologizing to black women. Now, they're doing a really bad job of it, because actually their apology just more so sounds like a general statement to their listeners. But black women were the people calling out this racism. Protect black women doesn't mean, oh, black women aren't capable of protecting themselves. We have to infant baby. No. Black lives matter doesn't mean other lives don't matter. Stop Asian hate doesn't mean other kinds of hate is okay. Like, all of these statements are references to the fact that people are vulnerable right now because society allows things that should never be happening in the first place. We say protect black women because black women are at a higher risk for intimate partner violence or straight up being killed, according to NBC reporting on CDC data. But you're sitting on the podcast making jokes about black women being abusers. We say protect black women because, as Associated Press asks, why do so many black women die in pregnancy? Because doctors don't take them seriously. And you're sitting there mocking James and Fuhad for attempting to take black women seriously. You see how tired it gets? Like, how fast this all falls apart and how quickly the excuse of it's just jokes goes to absolute hell. You can't make it seem like people are reaching when I am saying facts, right? It's not my opinion that black women are more at risk from almost everything because they are not being taken seriously. Violence is being perpetrated against them. And so you refusing to take them seriously and trying to spin them as being violent is racist, a type of racism that undermines these extremely serious issues. I don't bring this up to infantilize anybody. I don't bring this up to be depressing or anything like that. It's just true. That's the thing that I feel like some of these people really need to get through their head. What happened to facts don't care about your feelings? Because right now you seem to be feeling very thrown off that people are trying to take this seriously, but every fact points to why this is a problem. But do you know why it's easier for people like Andrew and his friends to laugh at protect black women? Because to acknowledge the fact that black women need to be protected is to acknowledge why they need to be protected. Why are they at risk? What is actually causing this? The answer is racism, obviously, but it's structural racism, right? Institutional racism. And what's a really big driver of institutional racism? Implicit bias, right? Holding these completely false narratives in your head about what kinds of people are just because they're black or this or that. And why is implicit bias still alive and well? Because people sit around in front of an audience of millions and continue to signal boost through racist stereotypes that are fueling a lot of this. Andrew Schulz can't take this seriously. He can't look at the facts because if he did, he would actually have to deal with a whole lot of feelings, which he's not prepared to do. In one breath, you want to use words like infantilization, but 5 seconds before, you want to laugh and not take any of this seriously. And it's all just so, like, selective, and it's transparent. It's clear as day. That's the funniest thing. Who do y'all think you're fooling? You know? Weakness masquerading as intelligence, logic, reason, strength, stoicism. It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
You know what's mad funny about this? Is that they had that they asked to take out the episode, You know what they didn't ask to take out? That joke about the black women, nothing really seemed, the fight or flight wasn't really there.
Oh, what a gotcha. If it was really racist, why didn't you guys ask us to cut it out of the episode? But I mean, that's actually a really easy answer. It's just what happens when you don't have an intersectional approach to any of the issues you care about. James and Fuhad care about racism, presumably, insofar as it affects men, right? Or them, really. I honestly think from the way they were laughing along, they probably didn't see anything wrong with it, because it's very easy to kind of just turn your brain off. Yes, they were uncomfortable, but people's brains really do just turn off when it comes to certain issues for some reason. And so I really don't think that's the cosign that Andrew's trying to push it as.
When you're part of a community, you don't realize that you can hurt your own community.
Admitting that they were not seeing it as harmful then doesn't make it not harmful now. So I just find it really funny that Andrew's kind of fixated on this a little bit.
I do have empathy for what they're going through. They're young into this content game.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna
and this
say.
is what happens with a lot of people who are like funny on the internet, but they're not comedians.
Remember when you used to have to kind of have skill to be a comedian? Man, the ability for just any average Joe to call himself a comedian probably was the worst thing to happen to comedy, if I'm being real. You can just put comedian in your bio and find enough people on TikTok who have never seen a funny comedy show in their life, and then just coast your way to Netflix. It's actually crazy. Yes, I'm looking at you, Matt Rife. But the funny thing is, Andrew actually does kind of have some chops. He does have credits here. He's worked on multiple MTV shows, and apparently he's been doing stand-up since at least the mid-2000s. And so for me, it really kind of just raises one question, which is, how have you done this for 20 years and you're still not funny? Like, I'm no advocate for giving up, but maybe going back to the drawing board at least is in order. I've consumed a lot of Andrew Schulz content over the past couple days, and it's been shockingly unfunny for a man who has managed to have a comedy career for so long. And you know, humor is subjective. Humor is subjective. It's subjective. But when am I going to stop subjecting myself to this? Is really just what I'm asking.
Comedians, we understand that being funny is saying inappropriate things.
Yeah.
Sometimes that thing that's inappropriate is something about you. Sometimes it's about other people. But the nature of being funny is something inappropriate happening.
Why do I fundamentally disagree with that? I don't think the nature of comedy is inappropriateness at all. There's so many things I could say I would consider to be the nature of comedy, like observation, subversion, wit. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to be funny, but he's actually telling on himself that the only way he knows how to be funny is to say something messed up. This is actually kind of a crazy self-report. What do you mean, Andrew? This is genuinely the only way you know how to be funny.
It's like scary in the beginning. You really think you're going to be canceled. You're worried. I'm sure that they have, you know, people that they have to take care of, and they're like, uh-oh, what if I have to go back and I have to get a regular job? Is it all over? I completely have empathy for that. I get that.
Got any of that empathy left over for the black women who were calling you out, or no? Okay. I really think like the strongest demon that a lot of people are battling on a daily basis is they're incapable of empathizing with things that they haven't gone through. Like, show Andrew a situation he's been in before, like being scared of being canceled, and all of a sudden he's got empathy out the wazoo. He can take this seriously, but let people of color complain, as he says, we're always complaining, right? Let people be anti-racist and point out how his humor fits into racism. All of a sudden, there's no empathy to be had. It's really, really baffling.
People that are upset at this, the majority of them don't even listen to the podcast. A lot of them are probably resentful of your success. And they're like, why the should these guys make all this money? And they're just like reacting to stupid videos on the internet.
I think the main problem with that is I too react to and laugh at stupid videos on the internet. I'm doing this right now, Andrew. So you can pretend that the other people calling you out are jealous for sure, but I'm not. If I had 0 subscribers and I was just a viewer, I was just a commenter, jealousy still would not be playing a factor into why I would feel compelled to call this out. The people who were calling this out, who don't have large platforms, nobody's jealous of 2 podcast bros.
The people trying to cancel you get off on you being canceled. You having to come out and apologize and bend to their whim and change the disposition of who you are. The learning lesson here is you do not apologize.
Honestly, it's kind of hard sitting here listening to somebody give advice that is so stupid while simultaneously thinking they're doing you a favor. The funny thing is, I personally did not see anybody saying we should cancel James and Fuhad. I'm sure it was out there, but it being out there doesn't matter because cancel culture is literally not real. It's just the boogeyman that you bring out whenever you get mad that people are criticizing you. If cancel culture was real, you would not have a podcast. Okay, you would not have a career. Donald Trump would not still be running for president. Andrew Tate wouldn't still be relevant this many years later. I mean, he's kind of not relevant. Actually, I feel like I haven't heard about him in a while. But my point remains. Nobody was trying to cancel James and Fuhad for laughing. And if they were, it genuinely does not matter because that has actually never worked. Cancel culture is literally the best thing that can happen to a comedian at this point. I think a lot of comedians need to just admit that. If you can spin the narrative that you're being canceled, you instantly have a tie-in with all of the anti-cancel culture people online. They will follow and support you just to really stick it to all the cancelers. The cancelers in question being people just saying, hey, that's racist. That kind of seems racist. Comedians like this love cancel culture, no matter how many comedy specials they write around pretending like it's a real thing.
You think about, oh, we have black female fans. I appreciate them so much. I think they must be so hurt by this. They're not hurt by this.
Bro, can you just stop talking? Who actually is this? Akash Singh. Can I offer some advice, Akash? Just from one internet person to another? Delete your account. I'm gonna go ahead and send you this link for permanently deleting or deactivating your Instagram account. I think the process is very similar on TikTok. Like if you're really gonna sit here and think you're doing something by making up positions and attributing them to black women, this is the second time you've done this and just the short time I've been watching, just delete it, you know? Just get rid of it. It's fine. Nothing of value will be lost.
Their fans can be disappointed. So it's like, I don't think it's wrong to necessarily apologize in that aspect.
I would agree with you if the reaction to that episode happened immediately after it came out.
Andrew was showing the stereotypes that he has about different races. You could tell that Fuhad and James weren't really comfortable. I hope they talk about how uncomfortable they were on this podcast. Like, this is from 2 months ago, Andrew. Yes, people were calling this out, but nobody was listening. So what do you mean? The reason it didn't go viral 2 months ago is because ain't nobody watching your podcast. Like, please, I genuinely did not know this man existed before I saw this pop up. You get like 1 million views an episode from the same people who were watching all your other episodes. Nobody talked about this because nobody knew actually watched this.
There was no
Oh yeah,
negative reaction after it came out.
Okay, Andrew, sure.
Podcasting, like, it looks like it's the easiest thing in the world, and honestly, it's really not that hard. Like, I understand why people are resentful of the success of podcasting.
Yeah,
chat. Are we resentful of the success of podcasters, chat, or are we irked by the prevalence of mediocrity? You know,
we do stand up. And everybody, you can say whatever you want about stand-up, but most people are scared to do it.
Yeah.
It is an art, a skill that you can refine.
Not me laughing. I'm sorry, a comedian who can only ever make me laugh when he is not trying to be funny? Red flag. Most people are scared to do. You're so brave, Andrew. You're stunning and brave. Now I'm the one who can't take this seriously. I can't take this seriously anymore. I've hit peak nonsense. This happens every so often. I'll get a topic where like halfway through the recording session, my brain just shuts down because it's like, D'Angelo, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro?
I laugh at shit that's fucked up.
All the time. You see a fat person fall off a building and die and crush a daycare.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What an interesting example. That was the funniest thing you could think of in the moment to illustrate the darkest things that you laugh at. You, a comedian, you could only come up with fat people dying. Dear God.
You never saw that? Like a fat person fall off a building and crush an entire daycare?
It's extremely funny.
Yeah, it is a crazy thing that happens.
It's so tragic.
Yeah. Israel does it all the time in Gaza. Actually, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, even your bros didn't laugh at that one. Not even your besties thought that was funny. Go ahead, though. Force out the laugh, and then they'll laugh at your laugh. And you make it seem like they're laughing at your joke.
Just start saying hands.
No hate to anybody who watches this podcast, but questions. Many questions for those who find this funny.
The funny people on YouTube that are podcasters that aren't stand-ups. It's not just them, it's other people as well. And I think it's just because they don't really understand like the essence of jokes.
And you do? Question mark? You think you know the essence of comedy when you can never come up with any material outside of things that are messed up to say.
So hopefully this is a learning lesson for them.
But maybe they have different rules in England or something. I don't know.
Maybe they have different rules. None of y'all are funny. None of you. Who are any of these people, actually? Where did you find these? Because I actually feel like picking average people off the street would result in a funnier podcast than these 4 comedians. That joke didn't even make sense. It didn't even register as a joke. How do you fail every aspect of like a 7-word joke? Your delivery, the context, huh? Nah, I'm about to change my bio to comedian. I'm literally about to just put comedian in my bio. Just start uploading out of context segments, like the only 60 seconds out of an hour where I was funny. I'm gonna put that up on TikTok, just launch a career, and I'm gonna see y'all on Netflix in a couple years because clearly the bar's in hell.
Anyway.
You know who was canceled recently?
Who?
Puff Diddy.
Anyway, indeed. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take on the situation is that Andrew owes all of us an apology for subjecting us to his comedy for 20 years. And I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. But I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I am of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to learn something new. You know, learn a skill, a fun fact, anything to recover the brain cells that have been lost.